Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. My name is Sierra, aka siaslaysmua on Instagram, and yeah, that's me. I have not been on YouTube in forever. I don't even know how to act right now, but here we are. I have had a couple people request a brow tutorial. The main person was my sister, but I've had a few other people be like, yeah, you should totally do that. So why not? Here I am doing my brow tutorial. So if you guys would like to see how I get my brows snatched like queens, then just keep watching. And yeah, so quick, easy, and simple, just like 3 or 4 steps, and you'll be out the door doing your brows like the fucking gods in no time, I promise. So yeah, let's go get these brows done. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and go check out my other social medias. My Snapchat for some like very more personal kind of life, my everyday life kind of thing. My Snapchat is queen.sn, so it's actually spelled QXVEEN.sn. So go ahead and add me on Snapchat and follow me on Instagram at _Sia, S-I-A, slays, M-U-A. So the first step to getting the perfectly sculpted brows is to have the right tools. I personally like to use my Cheap Joe's angled brush. Now this is actually a painting brush, but there's just something about this brush that I don't think I could honestly like live without it. Like I can't live without this brush. I've used this every single day in my makeup routine since my grandmother gave it to me 2 years ago. And you know, every now and again the brush, like the little petals right up here, will start to fray, and I'll have to trim them up or whatever, like they're doing right now. But most of the time I just like to wet the brush hairs and squeeze them together, and I find that works really well to keep the brush in its perfect form. And yeah, it's by far my favorite brush. It's great for eyeliner. It is great for if you want to get into like a dip pomade for your brows, but for me personally, I prefer using powder or pencil. One of my favorite brow product pencils, I do not have it in front of me right now, is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Definer in the shade Blonde, the shade Taupe, and the shade Auburn are like the 3 shades that I would switch back and forth between anytime I dyed my hair. But recently, I have been using powders, and by recently, I mean for like the past 2 years now I've been using powders. I'll occasionally pick up a brow pencil just because it's quick and easy, and it makes the brow look more natural, but we're a dramatic ass bitch over here on this channel, so if you're not, then get with the program or go. So I like to use the shade T from James Charles and Morphe's palette, and that is this shade right up here in this top corner. It's just a perfect like taupey blondish kind of color for like a brow. Like it literally matches my hair. I live for this shade right now. So that is the first shade I like to go into when I do my brows. And then the next shade I like to go into is from Jaclyn Hill and Morphe's palette, and this is Used and Abused Sweetheart, so sorry about that. But I like to go into this shade right here, this shade right here, and this shade right here. It really just depends on how dark I feel like going that day, but typically I try and stick with just these two, just to darken up the tail end of the brow a little bit. First, I'm going to be dipping into the shade T. I already picked some up on the brush, but I'm just going to pick up a little bit more. And I'm going to start shaping out the brow. I like to start about midway through the brow, like right here, and pull it back and just follow my natural brow line. Now, if you have really furry, fluffy brows, you might want to go get them shaped up first, just so that you have that perfect like arch kind of manipulation that you can use when doing your brows. If your brows are still like really fluffy, then you're not gonna get the best outcome, if that makes sense. So I like to just fill in the tail first, kind of get the general shape of what we want, and then like slowly move whatever's left of the product that's in the brush, or whether it's in your brow, and just slowly move that towards the front, like at a flicking motion, and it'll create like the perfect like ombre effect, and I love that. And I kind of just like to feather that through all the brows, pushing the brows forward and backward so that you get every little spot. I'm just going to dip back into some more of tea because we're now on my brush. And we're just going to go in again. This time we're starting the same spot we started on the bottom, except on the top, and carving out the top side of the brow. And I like to put my arch higher rather than lower because it gives me more lid space when I'm working with more of like a dramatic look, which for me that's every day. But yeah, if you're not so much of like a dramatic person but you really want like a nice arch, then definitely pull the tail of it on the top higher, and then pull this as tight lined to your natural brow as possible, so that when you conceal correct everything, it'll just be this sharp winged arched effect, and it's absolutely beautiful. Now I'm taking the brush just like this, straight on, not like sideways anymore, but straight on, and I'm just going to flick that forward like so to create a squared inner brow area. That's just my thing. That's the easiest way to do it. And then I like to kind of do little rubbing motions up and down with the brush to create strokes of hair, like hair-like strokes. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other brow off camera real quick, and I will be right back. So those are both of the brows put on. I know this looks a little crazy and a little bold right now because I have nothing else on my face, but I promise you this all comes together in the end. So next I'm going to be taking the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette, and we're just going to go in to here and pick up the shade right here and the shade right here. And I'm just going to focus on the outer tail area of my brow where the arch starts, just darkening that up. Touching right about there on the brow, and then pulling down and just following what we've already done. And same thing as we did before, I'm going to slowly just bring that up right only in this area, just to really define that inner area. Now I know it looks all very dark right now, but it will make sense in the end when everything comes together. I'm going to do the same thing to the other eye, those same two shades I'm picking up, and starting right about there. Next, I'm just going to take any random concealer. This one is the Maybelline Super Stay Better Skin Concealer. I'm just taking the wand and just rolling it onto the back of my hand so I can take a brush and carve out my brows. So when you're carving out your brows with concealer, you want to make sure that you get as close to the underside of your brow as possible to really make sure you're getting that perfect, sharp, defined line and like cut out. So I like to start right here at the arch. I can't really talk when I'm doing this, so I'm going to explain what I'm doing first. So I like to start right here at the arch where I've already marked, and then I like to slowly pull out this way first, get rid of any excess of the tail that is not necessary, and then pull inward and lighten this up a little bit. And you'll see what I mean as I go. And the good thing about concealer is that it just erases your mistake. Just like that. And now we're going to pull in. once you have that carved out, you want to just pull any leftover concealer downward onto the lid. This is going to just help give your eyes a very smooth, natural base for whatever makeup you're going to put on it. And just kind of get rid of any redness or veininess of your eye. And then I'm going to take just a little bit and I'm going to go right down the center, right here. I'm going to also take a little bit over the top of the brow as well. And for this, you kind of want to like push down, flick up, push down, flick up, push down, flick up. Just so you do not mess up the top of the brow. Alright, and then once your brow is all carved out, then you are ready to go with the rest of your face, your eye. I'm going to go ahead and carve out the other brow on camera. I think this is pretty self-explanatory how I just did this if you guys were watching. And I will be right back. Oh, you guys, that completes my brow tutorial. Like I said, very quick, easy, and simple 3 or 4 steps that it takes. And yeah, I hope you guys have fun trying to redo your own brows back at home. If you don't know how to do brows, if you're just learning, if you're just starting out, it's very fun. Makeup is very fun. And honestly, I'm going to show you guys a picture of my brows and what they looked like back in 2014. This is only 5 years ago, and it is insane to me that this is where I'm at now with my brows compared to where I was 5 years ago. So yeah, I'm really excited to continue to grow in the makeup community and everything like that. And I hope you guys will grow with me. I hope you guys will subscribe to this channel, like this video to receive some more quick, fun, and easy tutorials just like this one. And I will see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching.